Hey, this is Fish, and I'm back in for another episode of In the Tank with Fish. And this morning, there's a lot of different people that I think I said this before. I always like the opportunity to interview somebody that I may know them, but I'm really kind of hoping by the end of the interview, we all know them a little better. And I have Minnie the Minnow in with me this morning. I have Kayla Webb from Ashton Imagery.
Yes.
Did you like that?
Maybe loved it.
On the fish program.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
I'm going to change my Instagram name. That's what it's going to say. I like it.
So, Kayla, we've talked, but mostly when we've talked, it's been about business because we've been doing some things together and have been fun. You totally designed 93Q upstairs, a studio, and the green room, as they call it.
Yeah.
And then we put a podcast room in, which turned out to not be big enough. We had to move down here and do this one, you know. So did you grow up here? Are you a local girl?
I am local. I've been in Yuba City my whole life. I was born in Fremont Hospital on Plymouth Street and have been planted here ever since.
You never went anywhere?
Never went anywhere. I don't even remember the first time I went out of state, which is like Nevada, like you barely crossed the border. That's it. It wasn't until like 2020 where a wedding took me farther than the States, but that's it. Yeah, this is my home.
Oh my gosh! So we're gonna take up an offering for her.
Please.
Just send in your money to me. I'll take care of it. Don't worry. And we're sending her to beautiful downtown Brooklyn, New York.
That'd be amazing. Let's do it, please.
You actually like it, right? Travel's fun. You like to travel?
I like to travel within reason. When I travel, I like it to be, I'm just such a homebody, Bob. Yeah. I like to be within 2 hours of home, usually, but unless we go to the coast, then I'm at the ocean. When I'm at the ocean, I'm at the ocean. I love the ocean. But, I haven't traveled a crazy amount. We've been to Wyoming, been to Cabo, been to Hawaii, probably a few other places, but that's
it. Have traveled.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and
it's not like you went and lived there, but
I haven't lived there. The longest I've stayed anywhere was about 7 days.
So where'd you graduate high school?
Faith Christian High School here in Yuba City. So K through 12. I went kindergarten through 12th grade at Faith Christian. Okay,
now that begs the question.
Yeah.
So you grew up in a Christian home.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, I don't. So my parents, they wrecked me. No, I'm kidding.
So no, I'm going to go down this road. We are still going down this road.
Yeah.
So it's one thing, my boys, I was a pastor, so they grew up as pastors' kids. And, you always hear that, PKs, they're the worst, right? Well, I don't think my boys are the worst.
No.
I don't think.
No, they're great.
So for you, growing up in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
But something had to transition where it became yours. I used to tell my boys, you can't serve the God of your mommy and daddy.
Right.
It has to become yours.
I love that.
And you definitely carry the Father, God's image, in that you're creative.
Yes, thank you.
He's a creator.
Yeah.
And so you definitely got that part. So at what point did that begin to develop? You grew up in a Christian atmosphere.
Yeah.
But Kayla, when did it actually make a connection with who Kayla is?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Yeah. Ooh, that's a great question.
I know.
You're so good at this, Bob. So good. I do have phenomenal parents. I've had grown up here, my grandparents and my great grandparents. I was covered in prayer my whole life. So I've also with that lived in a bubble thinking everybody else was also covered in prayer and Christian. And so going to a Christian school, I was like, oh, we all love Jesus and we're all doing this and that and the other. And then I realized like, oh no, everyone has their own lives and problems and different things and everyone handles things differently. But it was in high school, I really, I've always had what my parents instilled in me, but I've always also felt like I've had my own faith and because my brain works different, I feel like. And As I got into high school, I started having, you have friends, you have different relationships. And through those relationships, you learn a lot about people and how things work. And through heartache and different things that happen, I've really developed like my relationship with Jesus. And it was always just mine. I mean, even like getting baptized, for me, I didn't tell anybody I was going to do it. They offered it up one night at youth group, and I said, I want to be baptized. And I got baptized, and I told my parents afterward when I brought home the certificate. And they were like, you did what? Yeah. So I've just...
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, right. And they're like, we want to be part of that. I'm like, I know, but for me, it was just like this, that was my walk that I had to take responsibility for. And I've walked with the Lord really my whole life, but it hasn't really been until the last couple years being at the church I'm at now that's shaped my brain to or allowed my brain to think differently outside of religion and church.
There is a religious system.
Yeah.
And the scripture says the law.
Yeah.
And you have to come up under that. You're under tutors and governors till the time appointed of the Father. But within the system, the law is a schoolmaster to bring you to Christ.
Yeah.
And so I am not anti-religious system.
Yeah.
I'm anti, you can't stay in that.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you had really the best of both worlds because you had that, and that became sort of the governor, if you will, of your life.
Yeah.
But then you had to find the freedom.
Yes.
Right. And so I hear that, but you have a creative freedom. And I want to know when that started.
Oh, man.
You know, when did you realize I don't see things exactly like other people?
Oh, probably after I got married to Lonnie at a certain point.
Yeah, that had to do it.
Yeah, I know. We don't see eye to eye. I know.
He's not here to defend himself, so go ahead, let it out.
No, he gave me the freedom to just be Kayla.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I had any rules or had to be a certain way. And he just listened and understood and then told me what he heard when I would say things. And like, that's exactly what I mean. And so being understood helped trigger that of like, maybe there's other people out there like me that do think differently, that are creatives, that maybe feel stuck in a box or stuck in a structure. I love structure. I love a good structure. But being a creative, I also have to think outside that box.
You have to have both.
Yeah.
It's a balance in both. And even the people that were around are supposed to help us maintain that balance so we don't get so far out there that you're doing creative things like, you know, hey, let's blow up some house and find out what that looks like. Can you take photos of it?
Yeah.
Right. And so we need that balance and then work within that. And then because you ended up going into a business, right, where you had an opportunity to use that creativity, did the business start after you met Lonnie?
No. I started my business 18. I went in, my mom went with me to get my business license and we did all the things. I was just like a little baby. And I walked in there and I remember pulling up into the Yuba College parking lot and it was like my first day of school and I was sitting in the car crying because I knew I am not meant to sit behind a desk. I am not meant to do this type of life. It's just, I don't think I can do it. So I sat there and I said, what do I want to do? What makes me tick? I love to cook and I love taking pictures. So let's pursue one of those and see what happens.
Pictures of food?
Yeah, which is something that I do love doing is taking pictures of food. I have pictures on my phone to send you from dinner the other night, by the way. But I do enjoy that. But that's when it started. I really just decided I don't think college was for me, which terrified my parents because my dad's like, you need to have structure, you know, and I agree with that. There's some people they go work for the city, work for the county, work in these jobs that may have more stability. Go be a doctor, go be a police officer. And for me, I was just like, I just don't think that's meant for me. I couldn't explain it then. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that I realized, no, entrepreneurship is just in my blood. My grandparents were entrepreneurs. They had a restaurant in Yuba City for 12 years.
I used to eat there all the time. I knew your grandparents.
So being a part of that, watching them farm before that and then do the restaurant, it was in my blood. That's all I saw growing up. So naturally, why would I think about saying anything else? And so we rocked that. And so I had my business for about 5 or 6 years before I met Lonnie. But then when I met Lonnie, he elevated the business. He allowed me to have help that I trusted.
You meet him?
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You didn't realize I was going to get there, did you?
I didn't know how we were going to get there, but I love it. I am so thankful for my husband. So I met Lonnie through friends. They had just moved back into town, and their baby was turning 1. So I reached out to them because I love them, and we had a relationship had been built already. And I said, can I take pictures of your baby for 1 year? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. So we met in back in the day when I was just shooting in random orchards without permission, which I do not recommend to anybody out there to do. But back then I was doing that, and we were walking to the car after the shoot was done, and they said, hey, what are you doing with your life right now? Like, are you seeing anybody? And I said, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life right now. So I'm not seeing anybody. I have no idea what's going on. And they're like, well, we have somebody that you should meet. And so that was on a Monday. And then later that evening, Lonnie added me on all social media platforms, like a total creeper, just coming in out of nowhere. I'm like, who's this guy? So then I turned it around. I started stalking him on social media. And then I finished their photos. 3 days later, I was sitting at home, and I was getting ready to watch Dirty Dancing for the first time. I'd never seen the movie, heard all about it. I had a Hershey bar ready to go. I was ready.
Oh, you were in.
I was in it. And then I get a text from one of my friends, and she's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, oh, hey, Dirty Dancing, and I have a chocolate bar. Like, I'm really excited for my night. And I said, I do have your photos ready. Whenever you want them, let me know. And she said, come over for dinner right now. And I said, I have plans for tonight. She's like, no, if you don't, my husband will come pick you up. Wow. And I was like,
they were adamant.
So I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So I get up, I get in the shower, and I get ready. Rapid time, Bob. It's a half hour. Yeah. I am fully showered. Hair is ready. My mom walks in. She's like, what are you doing? And I looked at her and I said, I have no idea what I am doing. Why am I getting ready to go meet? I knew he was there without them telling me. Yeah, he was always there. I just knew. So my mom turned to me and she said, if he's not driving a black Chevy pickup truck, you're not marrying him. And I said, I know, Mom, I know. And I pull up, and he was in a black Chevy Avalanche.
Come on.
I called my mom, and I'm like, Mom, he drives a black Chevy pickup truck. She's like, shut up, you're lying. I'm like, I'm not lying. I'm talking quiet in my phone. I'm the only one in the car. Yeah. But I look towards their window, and I see the curtains are all shuffling because they were watching me pull up. I get inside, I shake his hand. I say, you're the guy who's been stalking me on social media. I was just...
So, just real quick. So you did know what he looked like.
I had an idea.
Because you had... All right, got it. So it wasn't like total...
Yeah, not a total blind date happening. Yeah. So I walked in. I was the mayor of Charmtown. I was just so funny. And I was like, this is a really good feeling. And so we hung out for the night. And then, honestly, like, the rest is kind of history. He Facebook messaged me telling me he had a great time, asked me for my phone number, and we didn't see each other that next day. But then the following day we saw each other, and that was probably that was the only day we have not seen each other since we met.
When did you know? I hear this from women all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I just knew. Yeah. I knew I was going to marry that guy.
Yeah. It took me a little bit. Because I was scared. I'd been really hurt. I had been married. I had been married before. And so being in a relationship with someone who like truly loved Jesus was like the real deal. Like, this is something that's my future here. And he's a really good dude. So this could be a thing.
My next in the tank is going to be with Lonnie.
Yeah. Get him in here asking. It's like the total opposite.
We're going to hear the other side. Play them back to back. Right.
Which would be awesome. I'd love to see it. I'd love to get that down.
So this has been really a tremendous journey for you. And so you have been through places that were difficult, right? And so it has been a sort of, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going. Yeah. And really kind of an unfolding of who Kayla really is. Yeah. So when you married Lonnie, which is the way the body of Christ connects, then that began to feed into allowing you, actually probably even encouraging you to be even more Kayla than you had been.
Yes.
And so it was like, this isn't, I'm not just found a boyfriend and a husband.
Yeah.
You know, I found another member of the body that we have an eternal relationship.
Yeah, right.
It's not just he's good. I know it's weird. He's your husband for now, but he's your brother forever, right?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so getting an opportunity to release that, and then at what point then did you guys decide we can do business together?
Oh man.
Was it pretty quick?
It was pretty immediate. I mean, our first date, he answered the phone. He was working at a casino and he was like the manager in the security department. And so he's like, I'm sorry, I have to take this, because he was technically always on call. And so he said, guest safety, this is Lonnie. And I almost fell out of my chair because I was like, that was a really professional way to answer the phone. I think we could make some business happen. And so we dated for 11 months and then got engaged. And 3 months later, we got married.
Wow.
And then it was about 4 or 5 months. Well, no, that's not true. It was less than a year later, we bought camera gear for videography and took it to the next level there. And then after we did that, Lonnie had history at his old job of doing financial reports. And so he took over our finances, revamped our finances. We got a CPA. So it happened really quickly once we got together to like, hey, we're going to grow this business. I don't think we saw it as Lonnie was going to quit his job and pursue it with me full time back then. But now we've been living like that for the last almost 5 years now, where he quit his job and he's been next to me every single day.
Has he always been a bit of a techie? Has that always been part of who Lonnie is? And because he really seems to not just know things. Yeah. It seems like he actually enjoys it.
He does.
Right? You know, that it's not just, not just, well, this is a camera. This is, right? You know?
Where I show up and I'm like, I'll take the picture and I'll make it pretty. And he sets my camera settings for me. Like for a while, Lonnie actually taught me how to use my camera properly because I was running and gunning. And he goes, your camera can do this, this, and this. And I'm like, how do you know? He just Google, YouTube are his best friends. And he's learned everything and then teaches it, which is incredible.
When did you become Ashton Imagery?
That when, as soon as I got my business license. So
that's been the original name.
Yeah, so 2010.
Should have been Ashton Imaginary.
Yeah, I love it because when I just like the word imagery. I was so young when I started. I was just like, oh, I like the words together. So my middle name is Ashton, and imagery just felt right. I had a friend that kind of worked through some names with me, and he gave me that one, and I thought, yeah, I like that one. But imagery is so much more than just photography. It's how it's which is what I love because it can apply to so many different things, which is probably prophetic to where we are now in the business because I'm doing so much more than just photography.
Well, I think you can't crystallize or become stagnant in your walk with the Lord. Yeah. And because he flows through you creatively, that's not going to be stagnant either. And so I could see where that would expand easily for you guys. I mean, I've got to know you, and I can see that moving forward for you guys. You seem to be, I don't know if it's being the entrepreneurial part of YouTube, but it does seem like you're willing to take a chance. Yeah. It's like, look, we could sit here and we're fine. Yeah. But who wants to just sit here?
Yeah, why?
There's an island in the middle of the lake, and I say we swim for it, right? Yeah. And so I have noticed that. So with you two working together and Lonnie being able to do the technical side, it's not like he's not creative. Yeah. He's also creative, right? And so that combination of what you've been able to do, and so you're in a transition now. Yeah. And so you're moving towards something. Do you have any idea what you're moving towards, or you're just kind of rolling with the punches at this
I am
point,
rolling with the punches. We walked into this year and it was December 16th. I was at a wedding. We were shooting there, and I was standing there with Lonnie and Tyler. And I was talking to Tyler, and I said, I'm just now allowing myself to peel back a little bit, relax my shoulders, and say, what do I want to do? And allow myself to do that and live again in that creative space. Because for a little bit, I think you just get caught up in operating, and it's just a choo-choo train, and we're just chugging along. And I said, I don't mind moving forward, but I don't want to move forward in the same capacity I had been and keeping my business in a box, because I had put my business in a box for a few years. I want Kayla to be Kayla in my business.
Yes.
And so that started just at the end of last year. So I walked into this year and I just said, okay, God, I'm going to say yes to the opportunities that you put in front of me. I'm going to be open-minded to them, and I'm going to see what happens. And my gosh, in the last 2 months, the things that have fallen on my plate that are just like so wild, but I'm like, I'll say yes to that. I'll see what happens and let God work out the rest. I'm just trying to be obedient in this season. And the things that have happened have been absolutely amazing. I don't like being stagnant, and I had sat stagnant for a while, and I feel like a sitting duck. But last night, Lonnie and I were here and outside the building, and we were dropping off a check to Stace. And I had this vision of how frustrated I have been with the business and just wanting to move forward, but feel like, man, I feel like we're just kind of grinding things out and things are moving, but I don't feel like we're moving up yet. And Lonnie's like, you don't? And I said, no, it's been like, let's say the last 10 years I've been building, but I thought, whoa, if the foundation is this big that I'm building, how high is the building going to be?
Yeah,
And so that was
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, so that was the epiphany of like, it's always worth it. And so for everyone else who's like struggling in their business, thinking like, I feel like I might not be getting anywhere. Like, I know that I'm grinding my gears. I know that I'm meeting with the right people and I'm surrounded by the right people. I know I'm right where God called me to be. In His timing, everything will just explode up. But right now, I'm taking the time to make sure my foundation is all nice and taken care of. Because it's going to carry it, and it's going to be a legacy that we're going to pass on to our daughter and hopefully my grandbabies and all the things down the road.
Scarlett is not going to want what you guys hand to her. She's going to be president of the United States. She's going to rule the world.
My daughter's built different. It is amazing.
So I don't exactly know how everything fit together, but we ended up asking you guys to remodel the radio station because, quite honestly, it's not my forte. Well, you saw how it was.
Yeah, I did. I did.
But it was the idea for me. I have a great appreciation for creativity. I grew up in a family where every one of us boys has got creativity in different ways. And my brother Joe was a professional photographer, freelancer. Yeah. He shot rock concerts and whatever. He ended up, he was an Ansel Adams lover. Yes. But all Ansel Adams stuff was black and white. Yep. And Joe people would commission him to go shoot sunsets in Alaska, right? And so he loved it and had all these gorgeous paintings. So I grew up where he had, back in the days they had dark rooms, and enlargers, and the whole thing was done in. It was just the whole thing was like this is too much. Right?
Yeah, it's a different craft.
Yeah, when I went to Japan, he's like, "How come you didn't buy a Nikon?" Because I bought stereo equipment.
Nice, yeah.
Because I was into music. Yeah. But I got a chance to see how your creativity, because I thought that you're going to forgive me when I say this.
Always.
Okay, all right. I thought, she's, a wedding photographer, right?
Yeah.
Wedding photographer, like the wedding singer, right?
Yeah, that's all they do.
The DJ, right?
Yeah.
But I saw some of your work and I was like, nah, she's not just a wedding photographer, right?
Yeah.
And so when you came up, it was easy for me to just say, look, I do what I do. Mm-hmm. You do what you do. Yep. And you just came in and man, it was like the ideas just flowed out of you. Yeah. And initially I thought we were just doing the podcast.
Right. It was just one room.
Next thing I know, we're doing the whole thing. Yeah. And it's like everybody that walks in goes, this is gorgeous. Yeah. And so what does it feel like to have it go from here? I mean, I know musically because I write music. Yeah. I know what it feels like when I actually am able to get what I'm thinking to come out here, right? Yeah. And to as a song. Right. What does it feel like to see that room and then see that room? Yeah. How does that work?
Especially this project, it was one of the most rewarding things I've done in a while just because I was in that stagnant place. And then when we met and I was able to take it and do something different than I had done and bring it from my computer to life was like, this is the coolest thing in the whole wide world. Because I mean, even down to some of the details, like in the brickwork that we did, still it was all applied because I'm that picky about certain things. And, I was super proud of it. I love that space. Thank you. I love walking into it. Every time you tell me, hey, so-and-so was up here and they love the space, I get all giddy because I'm proud of it.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the
it's
time.
work that I can see in front of me, and it's not digital. It's real life in front of me. It's like when my clients get their prints made and they show pictures of their wedding photos. I'm just as giddy about their wedding photos as I am my own wedding photos because I'm proud of the work we've done and I know what went into that day. Especially up there, there were long days that we had up here and some trial and error and ripping things off the wall, ripping the wall off the wall. And once we got things all figured out, it worked out and it's beautiful. So I'm proud of it. It feels really good.
Well, I love how kind and gracious you two are because we built that podcast studio and then we ended up picking up a show that needed a bigger room.
Yeah.
And you guys had already started on this one.
Yeah.
And you were very kind, and I said, we need that room.
Yeah.
You guys were like, it's all right. And then the front office looked like it was going to become available. And it cracked me up because Lonnie said, well, we'll go ahead and do that. How long is it going to be before you push us out of there?
Yeah.
I was like, well, that isn't the intent, but you guys really are good at making it look good.
So we'll take it.
So when you think about that, you can shoot weddings, you could do all kinds of photography, but this was a little different in the sense it's like interior design.
Yeah.
But your eye is already trained and your creativity is already released in that. Yeah. So I'm really glad to hear that you went like, well, you know what? I did that. I'm proud of it. I could actually enjoy it.
Yeah.
And so when you think about that, Kayla, how much more could you really do? I mean, you could do an entire home, an entire office complex.
Yeah.
I think about hotels. I stayed in one recently that's brand new.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down the hall going, why the heck didn't they hire Kayla? This is terrible.
Yeah.
Nobody, and who designed this?
Yeah, trash. Sometimes some of those places, they have to keep it neutral. Like it's got to be like painfully neutral. Yeah. But I tell you, every time I go to my doctor's office, I'm remodeling and I'm like, just a little shiplap, you guys, like just some texture on the wall. Or I notice things that other people, like to their naked eye, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that's not straight. And I'm like, that's not just not straight. That should also be in a frame or that should be hung somewhere else. I just go past and then I'm like, exhaust myself with some of my thoughts sometimes, like, Kayla, let it go. It doesn't matter. But to me, the details matter because I believe that God cared about the details. You read that book and he's a God of timing and structure and detail. And so I used to struggle with that in my brain. Why does my brain work that way? It's so frustrating. And then one day I realized like, God's that way. Like the whole book is strategic. It's okay to be strategic and to have schedules, and there's rules in place for a reason. And sometimes there's a time where you flip some tables. There's times for that. But we just kind of rolled with everything. And I would love to take on bigger projects and see, what we could really do. But I can't do it without Lonnie. Like he's my contractor, my man muscle.
Yeah, you guys have a very unique relationship. When I was in college, I had a professor that said, if you and your wife can run a business together, it's one of the most successful arrangements in business.
Yeah.
If you can go home and know how to separate your life from the business.
Yeah.
And Patty, my wife, and I, we worked together when I had Firebrand Fencing.
Wow.
And she did the books and did the stuff at home. And it worked out really good. I mean, she likes it better now. I work, she spends. I mean, it just works out.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I have to ask you, all right, so you are in a bit of moving towards something that isn't quite clear.
Yeah.
But Kayla, tell me what is clear. What are you feeling that you're going, I think that's definitely a part of where Lonnie and I are going business-wise.
Yeah. Employees. employees. I know that's crazy, but
So you going to hire me or no?
yeah, absolutely. You're the first hire, Bob. One thing that I knew about Lonnie when I met him was that he was meant to run a team because I watched how he treated his staff.
Yeah, I can see that.
And he had, I don't want to misquote how many people, 30 something people under him when he was working at the casino. And there were just things that I thought, wow, I love how he handles people. And he's also not scared to hire and fire. And he does it with grace. And I love that. So I'm like, he's a powerhouse. And then for me, I have the vision. And so moving forward, right now we're transitioning from a sole proprietorship to an S Corp. And so while we're in that transition, that there's a whole financial side of that, which means me, the paycheck side and all that stuff. And so I sat with Lonnie last night and I said, why would we be transitioning to an S Corp? I mean, there's a bunch of reasons, but for us, knowing our connection with the Lord and where he's taking us, why would we be learning about the paycheck stuff right now? And Lonnie said, because we'll take employees one day. I said, I believe that.
I think that when you said earlier, I feel like I'm laying a foundation. I think all of us need to be at this particular time.
Yeah.
I think we need to be aware of exactly what you said, and that is we're laying a foundation, a rather broad one.
Yeah.
And so your vision has to be bigger than you're willing to take on.
Yep.
And that creates that trust in God, right?
Yeah.
He's going to do it.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to make sure all the pieces are in there. And I've felt like that for some time, that it's moving in that direction. I have a question I have to ask you. Okay. I don't have any choice on this one. You are incredibly quick-witted. Yeah. You are a very intelligent woman to start off with.
Thank you, Bob.
But you're quick-witted, but you're very careful to let your personality out. Have you always been that way?
Yeah.
Really?
I think I have. Yeah. I've kind of kept myself until I really know you. Like I'm like, when I'm Kayla with the camera, I'm still nice and I feel like I'm funny and I try to make people feel comfortable because I want to feel comfortable. Yeah. And in the business, if they're not comfortable, I'm not getting good photos. So it's like, I really want to make them feel at home and safe and comfortable. But, you know, going through high school is kind of rough and, all that
we
stuff.
all get
right. You come out of it. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, ugh, and then you recover and then you go through, different things. And at the end of the day, when you walk through relationships with people, you somewhere along the line, no matter if it's divorce or friendships or whatever, it's rejection that can kind of settle in. And so the fear for me for a long time was just being rejected by people, by clients, when they would say, hey, we can't afford you. Like, what move am I going to make with that when they say those things to me? And it was finding my identity in the business through Jesus by saying, Lord, where do you want me to take this? Because photography is just a byproduct of my business. Like, it's something we provide, but we're in a people business and it's about loving people. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm called to do, is to love on people and hopefully just bring them in on what we're doing so we can all go up together. But it's been wild to do what we're doing. But I'm thankful and I'm excited. And I mean, the sky's kind of the limit on where God's going to take us. But I've protected myself for a long time. And now I've gotten to a place where I'm happy being Kayla and I'm received well. And I'm trying to let myself be more open to people seeing more of me. Because I'm finding more of my people by doing that. And when you find your people, don't let them go, because it is next level. It is the coolest thing in the world to be a part of a team. I didn't think that was a possibility for me. I thought I'd be a lone wolf forever. And lately I've been able to find relationship with people that understand, that value, and reciprocate that. And that's the wild gift of being able to stay open and not isolate, because the devil wants us to isolate because he can attack us when we isolate. And so when I'm not isolated and I'm open and vulnerable, I find more people are willing to be the same. And then that relationship's built there. So it's been a long time coming, but I'm happy to be here.
So how much different is Kayla today than the Kayla of 6 months ago?
Okay. Thank you. Wildly different. My brain is, and I'm still working really hard on letting people in, letting people be involved and being vulnerable with people. within my business while still having to protect the business. But my spirit, the way I walk, the way I think has changed. I've shifted. So, I mean, and then a year ago, the Kayla a year ago was an angry Kayla, frustrated Kayla. I still have those moments because I'm human and I'm not perfect, but
what?
I know. Shocker. It's
That's
true.
on film right now.
I know. Breaking news. But the 6 months ago was when I think I made the decision something's got to change in order for me to open myself up to the possibility of taking this foundation and taking it up. Because building a foundation is way more than just getting your finances in order and making sure like all your, T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. It's on an emotional level when you're in entrepreneurship and like taking on people and thinking about employees. That's a whole nother responsibility. And again, it's a people business. So making sure that I'm ready for that. And it starts at home. It starts in my marriage, and it starts in how I take care of my daughter, and then my friendships, and then all the relationships, and then all the business that applies to it. So
Lonnie outed you a bit.
Oh, yeah. I love him.
Yeah, we were
Thanks for outing
talking
me, babe.
about, because I was totally thrilled with what you guys did upstairs. And, and he said, well, Kayla was a little nervous around you right? And I was like, Kayla's nervous around me.
Yeah.
Be nervous.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Right? But you don't think about it. So I didn't really know the Kayla before.
Yeah.
I got the privilege of watching the emerging, blooming Kayla, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very different. And that's why, during the course of this, I wanted to talk a little bit about that because that transition is part of ushering you into, you guys have got a new office, really gorgeous office. I'm going to let you have it for about 3 months till it's really
that'll be
set
good.
up.
That'll be good. Then we'll get another one.
Over on the other side.
And we'll do that one too.
Get that one cleaned up.
Yep.
Eventually we'll do the whole building.
Yeah.
And so, I just feel like what you're talking about. So you have an internal. This is the Kayla Foundation.
Yeah.
You have the foundation of your marriage, and you're being not just a wife, but a mother, and you're keeping those things intact. But now it's expanding, and really a great thing that your husband is your business partner as well, and you're able to do that. So when you think about that over the next 6 months or a year, because now you're going to have an office, you got a studio, you're going to do that, which I realize that just blows creativity up.
Yes.
I mean, you can do literally anything.
Yes.
But if you had to pick, like, I just want to use an example. So I got so busy with the radio, I was never on the radio.
Yeah. Yep.
And there comes a point at which you go, this is not healthy.
Yeah.
And then, so I started getting back on the air, and I enjoy it. I don't want to have a business I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
And so with all that you do, tell me where Kayla's biggest enjoyment is.
Yeah. Oh. Anything that I can find fulfillment in. And that has really been watching other people grow in what they're doing. So one thing that I've really focused on, even on the way over here, I told Lonnie, like, I'm really trying to focus on what do I love to do? Because for a long time, I worked in the business. Yeah. I never worked on the business. And that's draining. That's a draining place to be. And my business wasn't going anywhere because of it. And so for me, I love small businesses. I love small businesses that are maybe that have already been in business for anywhere from 5 to 10 years. They're looking to refresh, looking to take that next step. They already have the taste of entrepreneurship. They already have a foundation built, but we can tighten it. We can help fix it. But Tyler's another example of going from 0 to 100. Yeah, and it was just absolutely crazy. Working with Tyler, not just as in the business, but in personal as well, being friends, that all just, developed about 4 years ago for us to be like, hey, are you interested in videography work? You're creative. I can see that you play music. Like, you're nice. We could hang out with you all day and not get tired of your face. Would you be interested in hanging out with us in return? And we pay you. And everything just kind of kickstarted. And so Lonnie had helped him with starting with the finances and just taking what Ashton Imagery does and copying it into Tyler, and then Tyler taking that foundation and making it Tyler & Co. And that has been absolutely rewarding. Like the amount of text messages I've sent Tyler and Katie, just telling him how proud I am of him, for taking, because then he was with us for maybe 6 months before he was let go of the hospital. So he only had 6 months of, oh no, now I have to figure out my next thing. He didn't hesitate. And Tyler's just been a slow trickle up. And it's been an honor to watch him do that in his business and working with other businesses to just like instill different tips and tricks that we have. Because I was a lone wolf, like I said. So I did it all myself. I didn't ask for help. YouTube was my person I learned from. I've never had a mentor. And it was just like, I want to be that for people now because I've walked through the junk. And people don't have to walk through the junk. They can have help. But there's some people who don't feel like they have anybody to turn to because it's a competitive market and it's scary.
Yeah.
So that's the stuff that really makes, like, tickles my spirit, is helping other people get that light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, I can do this. And oh my gosh, this is where I need to go. This is the path I need to take. And I can be, and then watching it all pay off. That stuff really makes my spirit super happy.
Well, I have a degree in business.
Yeah.
I've owned several businesses of my own.
Yeah.
I put corporations together,
Yeah.
right?
You're elite, Bob.
And ran them.
You're next level.
But here I am doing this whole radio thing.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, you and Lonnie show up and you go, how about if we just do this? And so even if you're out there and you know stuff, it's that connection with somebody that can give it a fresh look. They can see what you can't see. Yeah. And I feel like you and Lonnie could help any business at any level. I think you guys really could do that. If somebody is out there and they're saying, hey, I have an idea. That's all they got, an idea for business. And I actually talked to somebody and they said, Fish, you should be doing consulting.
Yeah.
Because of what you know and what you do.
Yep.
And I said, well, what does that pay? And they said about $150 an hour. And I said, send them over.
Yeah, bring them my way.
$150 an hour.
Yep.
For what?
Yeah.
For doing the basics because you forget about it. But the point I wanted to make is you guys came in and really freshened up 93Q. Well, that fires up the people there, right? It moves them forward. So that creativity, adding that, it's like, okay, there's a fire there.
Yeah.
But you guys come in and throw one of those instant logs, the crackling log. Right? Things start happening. And I got so excited, I was changing the name of the corporation. I called you. I didn't even think to say, well, how much is this? I just said, give me a logo. Right?
I know. I love that.
It was like, give me an Italian logo.
Yeah.
Right? And you were like, you did it. And I got so excited about the logo. And I said, oh, I need another logo. And so I told Stacy, call Kayla.
Yeah.
Call Kayla. Tell her I need Studio 93. And it's just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I do think that is how it's supposed to work.
Yes.
Somehow, whoever I am and what I do should help your fire, right, to do what you guys do and vice versa.
Yep.
And so the idea of you guys being able, I really think that any business pre-existing or an entrepreneur, somebody wanting to start a business, they have is the idea.
Yeah.
I think they could go to you and Lonnie and get the pieces put together so that it could be effectual for them. It's just like you said with Tyler.
Yeah.
Tyler didn't have any of that skill set because he wasn't looking down that road. Yeah. And you guys have done it long enough now. It's second nature to you. But the added thing is you guys can add with Lonnie with the technical expertise and then you with the creativity, you add a whole new dimension. So that's why I say if it's a pre-existing business, I didn't ask you to change the 93Q logo. I'm totally happy with it. It's the right logo for it. But I knew things I was doing was expanding and it gave opportunity for that. Yeah. So would it be safe to say, I said all that. I might have been prompting you.
We'll see.
Would it be safe to say that part of the new enterprise of what Ashton Imagery, for all I know, you guys may even change the name, but part of it is that you guys can genuinely help an existing or a not yet existing business get to where they want to go.
Yeah. I fully believe we can. I mean, after being with Tyler and watching everything that's come of him, he also did the work. He also was willing. So that does make a difference. But when we meet with people and when we're inspired by those people, we do want to throw the sparkly log on the flyer and say, let's go, baby. Because I hate wasted potential. And if I can see that potential in you, I'm going to map it all out for you. So from A to Z, this is what it's going to be. And this is how we can go. And then as long as they're willing, magic happens. Like, it's just good stuff. So yes, I would agree with that. I believe in what we've done and where we're at.
I'm going to run out of time.
Okay. Stay tuned for part 2.
And I haven't even got where I wanted to go completely.
I'm sorry.
So listen, let's do this though, because I want to make sure people know this, right? So you guys, I know you haven't even really moved in yet.
Yeah.
But you guys really are open for business, correct? Okay. So I just want to say, if you're a business out there, a pre-existing business, and if you want a reference on what these two are incredibly capable of doing, you can come visit the studio and just see it for yourself. And I can also tell you firsthand, not just how creative they are, but there are technical things that Lonnie Webb knows that he is like a living YouTube. You push the button and he just goes, okay, this is how you do that, which I'm not even interested in. I just direct him, well, go tell them, because I don't. So it frees me to do the things I'm doing and want to continue to do. But if you'd like to get a hold of them, I'm assuming there is a web page.
There is a web page.
Oh man, that just, I could run with that one. So what is it?
www.ashtonimagery.com.
AshtonImagery.com. That's easy. And then I want to give you Kayla's personal phone number, because she loves getting calls. She can't wait. She sits all day long waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah, I do. I totally do.
You're better off going to the web page.
The web page. I have a structure in place. That's why we got funnels for a reason.
So when I go to the webpage, there's a place I can say, hey, Kayla, I'm interested in this, or hey, Lonnie, I've got this, they can meet you, get a consultation, go through the process, because your new office is just days away from being finished and only a month away from being moved.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we're right on it.
So close.
So anything else that you want to say before we get off here? I just appreciate you. You know that, right?
I do. I feel that.
And I had wanted to get you in here because I could tell things were changing. And I wasn't sure if you were sure where they were going, right? Because there's been so much change. So is there anything else that you'd like to?
There has been so much change. It's all good stuff, and it's all stepping out in faith and being obedient in this season. And so really, like, what's coming, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that it is in God's hands and that he is orchestrating all of it, and that we're trusting him in this process. And if he's in charge, it's only going to be, it's obviously bigger than my dreams are. And I want his will for my life. And I want it for everybody else's. And I want to have a good time while we're doing it. Like, I want everyone to experience it and have fun. So stick around, follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Ashton Imagery, and come along for the ride, because it's going to be really, really good. And we are getting close to we're going to get the studio flipped and get in there and let some dreams just kind of happen. And there'll be, some good times. So thank you, Bob, for letting me be a part of this. I adore you. I adore your team and everything you've let us be in on. It's been spectacular. So if you have not been over here to see the studio, come see it. Come meet Bob. It's the best place in all of Marysville to be.
We're going to keep doing it. So listen, everybody, I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in to these In the Tank with Fish. We're going to continue to have different people in, especially really wonderful people like Kayla Webb and Lonnie the Shark Webb. We're going to get him in here. I love it. And so we just want to thank you for doing that, for watching. If you have questions, or maybe there's somebody that you think, I'd really like to see Fish interview them. They've got an interesting story. Just let us know. You can reach me at fish@93qradio.com. Again, thanks for being in the tank with Fish.